Hey guys, welcome to the 5th video of my Uno card game tutorial, and in this video we're going to be continuing the game class. So the first thing we're going to do is make a get top card method, which is just going to return the top card. So we're going to return a new Uno card with a valid color and a valid value. And for our next method, we're going to be creating a get top card image, returning a new image icon with a valid color, and then underscore, and then valid value. So this is just returning a valid color and a valid value for the top card, and this is going to return the valid color with a hyphen in between and the valid value .png, and it's just going to return the actual image itself. So for our next method, we're going to be using or creating a isGameOver method to check to see if the game is over. It's going to return a boolean, and it's just going to say is the game over. So we're going to do a for loop for every player, an enhanced for loop for the player IDs. And we're going to say if they have an empty hand, return true, and then otherwise return false. Next thing we're going to do is make a method to get the current player. It's going to return a string. We're going to say return this dot player IDs, and it's going to return the current player. So the game over method is just saying if any player has an empty hand, if any player has an empty hand, return true, the game is over. If not, the game isn't over. And this get current player method is just returning the current player from our string array of player IDs, and it's just getting the index of the current player. So our next method is going to be get previous player. So this is just going to get previous players. Also going to return a string. It's going to take an integer, just call the integer I, and we'll say create an index. We'll say the current player minus I. So this is just going to get the index of whatever the current player is subtracted by whatever integer that we pass in, and we're just saying if the index is equal to -1, then set the index equal to the player's length minus 1. So the length of, or how many players are playing, minus 1. So if we're at the 0th index, then we would just go back to the top, or the last index in our player IDs array. And then we're just going to return the player ID's index. So we're going to return the name of the player at the correct index. So this is just going to find the previous player. Our next method that we're going to make is a method that returns all the players, and we're just going to call it get players. And this is going to return the string array of players. And the next method we're going to do is get player hand. So we're going to return a single array list of Uno cards that is a particular player's hand. So it's going to take a player ID. So let's say we're playing with Austin and Jake, and we want to get Austin's hand. So we pass in for this PID, for this player ID, pass in Austin. And then all this is going to do is say, okay, let's say index equals arrays. Okay, we're just going to return that player's hand. So turn that, and so all we're doing here is going through our player IDs and find the index of this variable. So like I said before, if this is Austin, then it'd go through our array list and find Austin in our player IDs, and then it's just going to return that player's hand, which is an array list of Uno cards. The next method we're going to make is going to find the size of a player's hand. So this is going to return an integer, and we're going to say get player hand size, and same thing, find a particular player and return get player hand. So the method we just used, we're going to use it, and we're just going to return the size of that. Our next method is going to find a particular card in a player's hand. So we're just going to say, or actually we're going to return an Uno card, and get player card, and this is going to take the player ID and the choice. And we're going to get a hand, which is an Uno card, and get the player hand and return the PID. So this particular player's hand, we're just gonna put it into this hand variable, and then we're going to return the particular index that the card is at. So this choice variable is pretty much just going to be the index of the particular card that we want to get from our array list of Uno cards. And for our next method, we are going to make a variable or a method to check if the hand is empty. So I'm going to return get player hand of a particular player, and we're just going to check, is it empty? And here we go. For our next method, we're going to make a method valid card play. This is just going to check to make sure if the Uno card that we are playing is a valid play. So I'm just going to check to see if the card's color is equal to the valid color, or the card's value is equal to the valid value. And the next method is going to check the player turn to make sure that it is the correct player's turn. So string player ID throws, it's going to throw an invalid player turn exception. And this is going to be something that we create later, but just for now, just write that down, and then we're going to say if this player IDs, alright, the current player, then we are going to throw a new invalid player exception. not turn. Here we go. So all we're doing is saying if the current player is not the ID of the player that we're passing in, then it's not their turn. And that concludes that method. And now for one of the last methods of this class, we're going to be doing our submit draw method. Just going to take player ID again. It's going to throw an invalid player turn exception. And it's going to check player turn. I'm going to say if the deck is empty, you're going to replace the deck with a stockpile, and then you're going to shuffle the deck. And then we're going to say, I'm going to get the player hand, and we're going to add a card. And then we're going to say if the game direction is false, current player is the current player +1, length, and then we're going to do game direction is true, then we're going to do the same thing we did earlier, then we're just going to subtract. Modify player IDs. And then we're going to say if the current player is equal to -1, current player is the player IDs dot length -1. So we're just setting that, and that is going to conclude that method. One more method that we're going to do is the set card color method, and this is just going to set the color that we pass in to be the valid color. So that is going to conclude this video, and in our next video we're going to finish the game class. And if this video helped you, please like and subscribe, and thank you for watching.